teammates going at it on Twitter, that and so much more on this Memorial Day edition of the Purple Rain podcast. Yes. Welcome back. Welcome back to episode 409
Yeah.
of the Purple Rain podcast, the Memorial Day edition. Thank you for spending your Monday with us, your Memorial Day with us here at the Purple Rain podcast. 409. Four players have worn this number before for the Ravens: Steve McNair, Gray Montgomery, Wade Ritchie, and most controversially and most recently, Justin Tucker. Yes.
Mm,
Don't know whose
mm.
episode you want to call it. A little bit of a touchy subject still, but yes, it is episode 409 of the Purple Rain podcast. You can follow us here on Instagram at the Purple Rain podcast. This guy right here on Instagram or on X at Sutton Def. Me, Instagram simply as10.prod, X simply as10, and it is 409. We are one episode away from episode 410, 410, the zip
Yeah.
code, area code of Baltimore, Maryland, and that means another giveaway is on the horizon. You may
Hmm.
ask, what is that giveaway? It is a beautiful Ravens graphic tee, Charm City. You see it here, right there on the screen. Actually, if you aren't a member, I'll tell you this right now, it's on sale. You can get it up for a great price right now, or if you want to wait, you know, test your chances, test your luck on Thursday. And if you are a member, I'm all for it. But to win this shirt, you've got to be in the chat probably around 7:30, 7:45 Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. We'll probably
Yeah.
spin the wheel, and if you aren't in the chat and your name gets selected, we will move on to the next spin. So yes, make sure you are a member first off and foremost, and you're in the chat here on Thursday around like 7:30 to 7:45 for your chance to win this sick T-shirt, sick giveaway. But yeah, hope everybody's having a great Monday, a great weekend. Sutton, how was your holiday weekend?
Going well, man. I did a lot of kind of gallivanting this week, and I guess you could say is the word for it. I was kind of out and about, and had company over last night, right? And bro, we had company over. We were entertaining guests until like 2 in the morning. Like we were partying that hard. And it took me back to like my college days, like staying up that late partying and drinking and all that crazy stuff. But I woke up today and I was like, oh right, it's Memorial Day. It almost feels like a Saturday all over again. Memorial Day does. So I'm messing with it. I like it a lot. I'm feeling good today, man. And like you mentioned, we got this giveaway coming up on the next main pod, man. Thursday's episode, we will be giving away this Raven shirt right here, which is, in my personal opinion, a beautifully designed Ravens graphic tee, perfect to give away on 410, episode 410 of the show. That's going to be in celebratory. Was going to be we're celebrating episode 410, Charm City. You guys know the whole area code thing, like he just said. Anywho, listen, what I want to say is this. Thank you guys for coming through. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. Please be sure to leave a like on this video before we get into anything else Ravens related. We got a couple of things to touch on. I want to ask you this though, Alex. You mentioned this episode being the Justin Tucker episode. At least he's one of the players who wore that number, right? Justin Tucker is still unemployed, right?
He is.
It kind of goes to show you. I mean, like, even with all that success that he had in Baltimore, after all those years, nobody has reached out and gave Justin Tucker a contract. I think he's worked out for a couple of teams, if I remember correctly, but he just still has not signed. Yeah, Saints.
Yes,
that's what it was.
The Saints.
Exactly.
They got some backlash. Actually, they got a lot of backlash for that. I don't think he'll ever touch the field again. I think if he isn't signed this year, he'll never get signed to the NFL. Maybe, the UFL would want that type of publicity. There is no such thing as, I guess, bad publicity, but however you want to look at it, if it's not this year with the NFL, I don't think it'll ever be with the NFL again.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. But that's what happens when you decide to be a nasty mofo. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of get excommunicated a little bit, unless your name's Deshaun Watson. I don't know. Neither here nor there. Yeah. Listen, Alex, we got some things to get into here on this episode 409 of PRP. First thing I wanted to bring up, I talked about this on Friday's episode, Alex,
Mhm.
and I wanted to bring it to you. Is this whole two levers question, right? Me and the chat
Okay.
we were having a good time going back and forth about it. Take a look right here. This is a tweet from Garrett Ferguson. Shout out to him. He says, if you could only pull two of these levers this season, which would they be? One, Mike Green having a major breakout season. Two, Nate Wiggins being a top 5 corner. Three, Venga Ioane earning an All-Pro. Four, Malachi Starks leading the league in interceptions. Five, Kyle Hamilton getting Defensive Player of the Year. Or six, Elijah Surratt or Jacoby Lane have a year one breakout. Alex, out of all of those options, if you could only pick two to happen, which would you want them to be?
So I'm gonna pull one on offense, one on defense. I feel like
Okay.
that's fair. For offense, I might double dip, but for offense, definitely Venga Ioane, All Pro,
Mhm.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
I feel like if he has an All Pro season, Lamar Jackson 41-4, if not better.
Yeah.
That means Lamar Jackson is being protected. Because I feel like being a good lineman also means your whole unit. You know, like if you're recognized by yourself, it means the whole unit's doing a great job. So I'm kind of taking this as the whole line's doing well. You know, Surratt or Lane, which we will talk about later, having a year one breakout, that would do a lot for us.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with either a Mike Green breakout season or a Malachi Starks interception.
Really?
Because if you could have Mike Green breaking out alongside Trey Hendrickson, that means you're getting the quarterback a lot. But if you're leading the league in interceptions, that means you're getting the ball. Fingers crossed, good field position for the offense to play with.
That's a good
I'm gonna
point.
go Mike Green because I think we've seen the Super Bowl in recent years. The trenches are winning, and if we have a Trey Hendrickson and Mike Green breaking out, getting the quarterback, wrecking havoc in the backfield, that means it doesn't matter, about our back end. They're getting to the quarterback. I'm gonna go with the Mike Green breakout season and the Venga Ioane All Pro. But
Yeah.
give me one of any of these, and we're still cooking. But those
Oh
two
yeah,
are
for
definitely
sure. Definitely. But you know what's funny, Alex? I picked the exact same options. The exact same
Really?
options. Yeah, I
Really?
did. On Friday's
Okay.
Quiet Storm Sports, I picked Mike Green to have a major breakout season, then also Venga to earn that All Pro. And my reasoning was not too far off from yours, Alex. I said that, Venga Ioane earning an All Pro, that means that there's wider running lanes for Derrick Henry. That means that there's more opportunities for all of the pass catchers to get the ball because Lamar Jackson has more opportunities. It's just a force multiplier for so many other things on the offense if Venga is an all pro, right? In his rookie season, right? Next to Ronnie Stanley and John Simpson and Rosengard and things like that, right? So I think that would be huge. Of course, like you mentioned, in the trenches is where this game is won or lost. We've been seeing that consistently in the past however many Super Bowls, pretty much every Super Bowl to begin with, right? It starts and finishes in those trenches. And then also Mike Green having a major breakout season. You make a good point. If he is opposite Trey Hendrickson and Mike Green is getting 10 plus sacks, right? I think a breakout season for Mike Green. Let's talk about that really quickly. What does a breakout season for Mike Green look like? Does it have to be 10 plus sacks? Like, what do you think that looks like, Alex?
I'm gonna go double-digit sacks and 2 to 3 forced fumbles. I think it's
Okay.
breakout. I feel like that double-digit is just that next step as an edge rusher. I know it just sucks as an edge rusher. You can get that close and not get the quarterback 10, 20 times, but like if you have, let's say, 15 sacks, and you have 20, 25 pressures compared to 5 sacks and like 25, 30 pressures, the 15 sack guy is going to get that notability. He's going to get that achievement, that maybe defensive player of the year votes. So that 10 sacks and a couple forced fumbles, I'm all for that with Mike Green. And who knows what Trey Hendrickson will do if he stays healthy. Think about that. I mean, a normal year for him was 15 sacks plus. He plays 4 games, has 4.5 sacks? You're almost leading the Ravens last year in sacks with that.
Facts. Yeah, man. So yeah, I mean, like we mentioned here, I think it's a no brainer, to be honest with you. If you can get after the quarterback, speed the quarterback up, right, throw him off of his spot, and then you can also protect your quarterback. I mean, that's the entire name of the game. Protect your quarterback, hurt theirs. If you do those two things, you will win a lot of football games, and I think that the Ravens are primed to do that, especially if Venga can even reach, if he can even be in the discussion right, for an all pro or any sort of accolade or award because of how well he's playing in his rookie campaign, then I think that the Ravens will be in a very, very good spot. That is for sure. Let me see the chat here. The chat is saying something a little different. JD in the chat says
Okay.
Kyle Hamilton and Venga. So Kyle
Okay.
Hamilton being defensive player of the year. You just talked about, Alex, how Mike Green being, having a breakout season, that would look like 10 plus sacks, maybe, and then like maybe 2, 3, 4 forced fumbles. What does defensive player of the year look like for Kyle Hamilton?
So let me pull up the most recent year, who won Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay.
Last year, Myles Garrett. Year before that, PS2. 2023, Myles Garrett. 22, Nick Bosa. 21, TJ Watt. So it's very edge rusher friendly.
Right.
So taking that into account, I'm guessing if he were to win DPOI, I'm guessing 5 to 6 sacks.
Yeah.
I think this has to be there. I'm going to go 4 plus interceptions, 2 to 3 forced fumbles. And then obviously him having the impact, pass breakups. I feel you can't argue with that if he were to have that. But if Myles Garrett puts up 20 some sacks again, it's hard, How can you compare the two? Because the Browns have a damn good defense as well. But I think if he puts them, from the top level, all 3 levels, if he, sacks, forced fumbles, pass breakups, interceptions, how can you really argue with that defensive play of the year line?
Yeah. I mean, like Kyle Hamilton, he
And we
is
talked about
really
it. We
like,
think the interceptions.
yeah. Like Kyle Hamilton, he's like the prototypical player that should win defensive player of the year simply because he does so many things. He wears so many hats on that defense. Like you mentioned, Alex, this is a player who on any given Sunday is liable to get a sack, an interception, a PBU. You can't say that about Myles Garrett. You can't say that about TJ Watt. You can't say that about Micah Parsons, right? They do one thing. All respect to those guys, but they do one thing. They do it very, very well. Don't get me wrong. But Kyle Hamilton, who can be like a jack of all trades, right? And be everywhere on the defense. And oh, by the way, Jesse Minter is getting an upgrade over Derwin James and what he had in LA with Kyle Hamilton. I think that Kyle Hamilton is going to have an amazing year. You mentioned at least like 4 or 5 interceptions. I mean, listen, man, if Kyle Hamilton gets 5 plus sacks, 5 plus interceptions, and then 3, 4 forced fumbles, oh my goodness. I mean, those are crazy numbers. Like, those are absolutely insane numbers. One more little quick thing, Alex. I talked about this on Quiet Storm Sports, and we talk about Pro Football Focus on this channel very sparingly, right? And you can take their analysis with a grain of salt. But Kyle Hamilton last year was ranked the 3rd best safety in the National Football League, according to PFF. And guess who was ranked the 5th best safety, according to PFF last year, Alex?
Is that Derwin James?
No.
Is he now a Raven?
He's a Raven.
Jalen Hawkins.
Jalen motherfreaking Hawkins. So what we're saying here is what we're looking at here, Alex, is the Ravens having, according to PFF, again, take it with a grain of salt if you want to, but 2 of the 5 best safeties in the National Football League. That is going to be huge. Nobody's really talking about that right now. It's all just, Kyle Hamilton, we know he's a beast. But yeah, you just got Jalen Hawkins, who's also a dog, coming off of his best season of his career. And we're going to see what he does with the Ravens, man. I mean, I'm super excited. Not to get off too much on a tangent here about Jalen Hawkins and whatnot, but Kyle Hamilton getting Defensive Player of the Year, could definitely see that happening. I got Mikey, a new member here. He goes by Mikey. Says Mike Green and Venga. Shout out to you, Mikey. Yeah, that's what we said as well. We totally agree. Afia is in the chat. What's going on, Afia? Appreciate you for coming through as always. Lisa says, where do you see Zion Young on the sack list? I don't really see Zion Young getting a bunch of sacks this season, to be honest with y'all. To be honest with you, I feel like on plays where sacks are most likely to come, which would be like 3rd and long, you know what I mean? 2nd and long, stuff like that. I don't think Zion Young is going to be on the field as much, to be honest with you. In obvious like pass rush situations, you're going to see Trey Hendrickson and Mike Green, right? Every now and again, you'll see Zion Young, or maybe they decide to slide him in on the inside, maybe on a Draymond Jones type of thing. It'd be like a 4 technique. We don't know. But no, yeah, I mean, I don't think Zion Young's going to get a whole lot of sacks in his rookie season.
Agree. I think, if I were to rank who had the most sacks right now, Trey, Mike Green, Tavius, and then Zion Young. I don't want to cap him, but I feel like, the max he can get this year is maybe like 4 or 5. And that's just me trying to, temper my expectations for a second round guy. We'll love for him to break out, but to be realistic, like you said, he's not gonna have a lot of volume his first year, unless, like you've brought up as well, if we are blowing teams out, throwing the younger guys, you could get some stats there. We saw it in years prior. We saw even when Owe, I think in that 23 year, he was getting thrown in there because it was, Clowney and Van Noy
Yeah.
as the guys rushing them. Owe would get his as well, but you don't want to throw him into the fire right now. We saw Mike Green last year thrown into the fire, and he's already been, written off by some pundits and fans. And I get it, but let the young guys work themselves in, especially in this defense. But it'll be interesting to see, how we use them. And then, obviously Tavius Robinson is a contract year for him. And much like we know with this Ravens team, edge rushers in contract years, they usually break out. Just expect it. I think your mic might be muted.
Oh yeah, it was my bad.
There you go.
Yeah, hopefully we can see that year 2 leap like you're talking about there, Alex. Let's go ahead and shift gears here. I think the whole two levers thing is a lot of fun. Shout out to Garrett Ferguson for thinking of that and putting that together, because it is an interesting thing. Like, where do we prioritize like what's most important, for this Ravens roster? Who really needs to step up and break out? I think it's definitely across those trenches, like we just mentioned there. So let's move on here to something that came out over the weekend as well. Football topic, but not necessarily about football. Am I right? So over this weekend, you had Jaxson Dart, Giants starting quarterback. He was in the news because at some sort of convention or something like that, he introduces the president of the United States, Donald Trump, ahead of his speech in New York. Let's take a short listen to Jaxson Dart.
Big Blue Nation, it's a pleasure to be here. I got to start this off with a Go Big Blue. I'd love it if y'all would follow with me. Go.
By the way,
Big
this was
Blue.
cringe.
Go Big Blue.
Yeah.
Go Big Blue. Go Big Blue.
Cringe.
What an honor, what a privilege it is to be here.
Nobody got hyped for that.
Without further ado, I'm grateful, I'm honored, I'm pleasured to introduce the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump. And I'm proud to
All right, we don't have to play that. Anywho, so you saw it there. Jaxson Dart is introducing the president. And, to a lot of people, this is something that's like kind of off-putting because, like, with everything that's going on in the country right now, we don't get into politics too deeply here on PRP, but like with everything that's going on in the country right now, I think it's kind of safe to say that, like, objectively, our current administration is not doing a great job at all. I don't even think they're doing a good job, to be honest with you. That's my opinion. But again, I think you can pretty much objectively say that. So for Jaxson Dart to get up there and, endorse, and I guess it's not a huge like endorsement, like, oh, I love this guy so much, but you're introducing him, right? So it says something. It talks about it speaks to his political alignment. And when you also think about how John Harbaugh was literally just last year at the White House, kikiing with Trump and his brother Jim Harbaugh and stuff like that, kind of goes to show. I mean, Big Blue, might be Big Red. I'm not going to lie to you. Might be Big Red. I don't know. We'll see. But I want to get your take on it, Alex. But before we do, just really quick, you had Abdul Carter who responded to this video. Of course, Abdul Carter is the Giants' former first overall pick. He said, thought this shit was AI. What are we doing, man? So kind of taking an adversarial stance here against his teammate Jaxson Dart and him going up and introducing Trump. Maybe some tension in that Giants locker room. Has John Harbaugh kind of divided the locker room so far? I mean, like, what do you think is going on here, Alex?
John Harbaugh's New York Football Giants. There you have it. For a team that has 7 wins over the past 2 years, for a team that has a guy at running back who basically said asthma is fake, for a guy at quarterback who probably has CTE and only played 1 full year. First off, he's from Utah, went to Ole Miss. Are we surprised? I'm not. Leave it at that. Leave it at that. And for Abdul Carter's tweet to still be up and not deleted, that says a lot too. My
Yeah.
problem with this as well is the fact that he was trying to, get mad at the fans for creating a narrative. What narrative did the fans create? I mean, the tweet's right here. You obviously disagree with Jaxson Dart, and guess what? Perfectly fine. I have no problem with disagreements. But don't get mad at the fans. Don't get mad because social media, I'm wondering how that locker room's going to be. Because there's already media with New York Post. They'll take a headline and they'll run with it. They'll take a picture and they'll run with it.
Yeah.
I don't think John Harbaugh knows what he got into. Even now, I still think months later, this is the first thing. They've already lost somebody in training camp for a full year.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And now you have split. And this isn't just like a fourth string cornerback and like a lineman. This is your starting quarterback and your first round pick from last year.
Yeah. Yeah, you think about it, like you're literally your face of the franchise, and like you mentioned, your first overall pick from last season, just kind of at odds right there. And then you've got a brand new head coach who is obviously on the side of Jaxson Dart here because we know John Harbaugh, he is MAGA aligned, right? So yeah, I mean, and then Abdul Carter tried to clean it up, right? Let me go on his page. He tried to clean it up right afterwards, and he said, "Me and JD6 are good. We spoke earlier as men. Y'all can keep y'all narratives." And that was the tweet that you were referring to when he's talking about the narratives that he thinks that we're trying to spin as fans. And it's like, no. I mean, you watched the video, and your first emotional response, your knee-jerk reaction, Abdul Carter, was to speak out against your teammate. That was your first reaction. So whether or not you went and, on the back end of that and you talked to JD6 behind closed doors, that's irrelevant. Because again, like you mentioned, Alex, the tweet is still up. It's still there, right? Like it's still there. Like we can read it word for word, bar for bar right now. It says, "I thought this shit was AI. What are we doing, man?" Right? If you were walking that back, right, and you have any sort of remorse for tweeting this, you would have deleted it at the very least, just as a signal. Of course, it would have never went away because what's goes on the internet, it stays on the internet. But it would have sent a clearer message, right? That wasn't really what you were trying to do. But the fact that it's still up, I think, says everything that we need to know. And he says they spoke about it as men, and that we can keep the narratives. I don't know what that conversation was necessarily like, Alex, but man, all I know is that there might be some trouble in New York, especially like you mentioned, with how big that media market is, with how huge that media market is. Like, this is not going anywhere. This story is not going anywhere. I think it's only going to get bigger. And people are going to start digging now. People are going to start digging for like people's like political affiliations and alignments and things like that. And it's going to get weird in New York. It's going to get very weird. Now, Alex, so what we got to talk about now is our guy, Marlon Humphrey. If I can find the freaking tweet here. My bookmarks always do this to me. They always do this. Here we go. Marlon Humphrey. So here you see Marlon Humphrey, Ravens longtime cornerback, tweeting yesterday, said, "The fake Trump hate is funny to me. Majority voted for him, but everybody seems to hate him. LOL. Somebody's lying." And so, of course, I think that Marlon Humphrey only made this tweet, as a response to what happened with, JD6 over the weekend. That's clear. And he's saying here that, like, why do so many people hate Trump if like over half the population voted for him? Somebody's lying. LOL. Number one, Marlon Humphrey, as a matter of fact, step into our office. Have a seat. Get comfy.
Are you cutting him? Are you cutting him?
That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. Like, at this point, I want to cut him. June 1 can't come fast enough. But listen, number one, even if over half the population voted for this man, they still, all those people who voted for him, still reserve the right to change their mind and opinions on him based on what he's doing while he's in office. Right? I just said a couple of minutes ago, Alex, objectively, objectively, the president has not followed through on any of his promises thus far. None of them. You know what I'm saying? You're taking away social benefits. Gas is $5. There's wars in the Middle East that we don't need to be a part of. Right? I mean, everything literally is going in the negative direction. And so for Marlon Humphrey, Fresh Life, appreciate that sub. So for Marlon Humphrey to get up here and act so oblivious, like you mentioned before we went live, this is typical peak prime Marlon Humphrey. It never fails to amaze. Like it amazes me every single time, Alex, just how horrible this guy is at reading the room. You would think for a multimillionaire who is also, I believe, to be a smart guy, right? Went to Alabama. Don't know what his grades were like at Alabama, but he seems like a guy who, gets his work done in class and he seems like a smart individual, is what I'm saying. So for him to be like this tone deaf all the time, because it's not just now, it's not like this just started now. All the time he's like this. I just don't understand it. And like now that the play on the field, like the production on the field that we get from Marlon Humphrey is not up to par, like it's not where it used to be, stuff like this really hits way different. It's way different. Because like, brother, on the field, you've been ass. And then you got the nerve to get online and give us takes like this. Like, no, you're just asking to get chewed up. Again, take PFF for what you want, but I believe Marlon Humphrey was ranked the 105th out of 114 corners last season. Not good. Not good. So Marlon, again, you got to start reading the room at some point. I'm fine if the Ravens move on from Marlon Humphrey, to be honest with you. But how are you feeling about Marlon making this tweet?
It's something that I don't think I am surprised. I feel like anytime something big happens, whether it be sporting wise, where you can give your opinion, whether it's just, personal, any type of event that may happen, I know he will share his opinion. And listen, he is entitled, everybody to me is entitled to their opinion. That's what I think is great. We can all, talk about it, and I just want it to be civil. It's just like you say, very tone deaf, does not read the room. And this goes back years ago. I remember that game in 2021, to take it from politics to sports. I think you know what I'm about to say. This man had the audacity for us to get blown out by our division rivals, to have Samaje Perine, Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine hitting the bird flu dance in our end zone to say, LOL, Jamar cooked me. After the game. It hadn't been like 15, 20 minutes. He goes into the locker room.
No shame.
It's the thought of going in, using your thumbs, typing that tweet out, reading it, proofreading it, and hitting send. And once again, takes it back to this whole thing. The one thing I've also learned is the internet, it's sometimes a real place and it's not a real place at the same time. You can come across people on the internet who may feel a strong way. You can go out in the real world and you may not meet them. Also depends where you live. Also depends your tax bracket. We aren't the same. I wish we were. I wish I was making that Marlon Humphrey money. I really do. And actually, we'll bring him up on a topic that we're going to talk about later. But sometimes it's just best, if you can just kind of just go call him up on the phone. Don't tweet it out to hundreds of thousands of people. And don't be surprised when you get the reaction you do.
Exactly. Faheezy says here, for real, Marlon gives me, my family was the rich family in Alabama while everybody else is poor. You mentioned the whole tax bracket thing. I mentioned this sometime last season on this podcast, Alex. I said that, you can only get but so upset with Marlon Humphrey, and he's just a microcosm of it. It's really just professional athletes, especially the ones who make like crazy amounts of money, like NFL players, NBA players, MLB players. They're so far removed and disconnected from the average everyday American that they just don't, I don't even think that they can't relate. They quite simply cannot relate to, because listen, Marlon Humphrey isn't tripping over gas being $5 a gallon. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not tripping over, he's not worried about not being able to buy a house as a young adult. He's not worried about, not being able to put food on the table because of certain social benefits that have been cut off and things like that. Marlon Humphrey's not worried about any of that. If I had to guess, he
Health
probably
insurance.
health insurance, right? We can go on and on. He probably sleeps and wakes up in satin sheets, which maybe some of us do too, right? That's not reserved for anybody who's rich and famous, but you guys get my point, right? Like he's just so far removed financially, right? He can't relate to a lot of what people, the average Americans, are going through. So you pair that with the fact that he's just kind of got this like goofy persona that like wants to go viral, wants to be the center of attention. I mean, Marlon Humphrey, how many podcasts has he had? What podcast is this? His third
This is
podcast?
number 3. He had the one with Ronnie Stanley, and then with Snapback, and now the one he has now.
Yeah. So clearly he loves to do things for attention, right? And this is what you get. This is what you get. And it's unfortunate that, the play on the field doesn't match what we're seeing online nowadays from Marlon Humphrey. So I'll tell you one thing, Alex, if the Ravens do enter this season, which I expect them to be honest with you, if they do enter this season with Marlon Humphrey as a cornerback on their roster, he is going to be on the tightest of leashes when it comes to this fan base. Oh, you better not give up. Oh, listen, buddy, you better not give up anything from that slot. Like nothing. I better see prime time, peanut punch, fruit punch, Marlon Humphrey. That's what I need to see this year. You gotta back up what you've been putting online, because I'm telling you, this fan base is going to chew him out. They're going to chew him out if he's not making plays on Sundays. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, that's not a good place to be. It's not. You got to think about some of the players that may have lost confidence in fans, and the smallest of mistakes. Too raw. Thin ice.
Yeah.
This ice is, if you drop a pebble onto the ice, is all cracking. You have got to be perfect. And with the cap hit that he has, may I inform you of the cap of Marlon Humphrey this year?
Please.
$26.2 million.
Yeah.
$26.2 million cap. I believe he's top 5 in the team.
Whole lot of
Very,
money.
very thin ice.
Not a whole lot of production, but a whole lot of mouth. Right? That's what you get from Marlon Humphrey in 2026. And again, he's going to have to back it up. Right now, he's writing huge checks that he's going to have to cash at 30 years old, right? And we'll see if he can live up to that. We'll see. Kwame says here in the chat, I mean, he did lead us in takeaways last year. While this may be true, I'd also say that Marlon Humphrey's, a lot of his takeaways were very, very, if you guys remember correctly, very like opportunistic, kind of just landed in his lap type of takeaways. A lot of those interceptions, it was batted off somebody else, and then he just happened to be right there. It lands right in his lap. It's not like he was like mirroring his wide receiver, right, running the route for him, and then just stepping in front of him and making picks. That wasn't really what Marlon Humphrey was doing. But yeah, Alex, did you look it up or something?
Yeah, 2024, I'm not going to sit and act like he was not elite. I was throwing him in Defensive Player of the Year conversations. I think I will stand on that. He was a Defensive Player of the Year. He was fantastic.
He was
yeah,
balling.
And like last year, he had the pick against the Vikings, which was a moon ball from like J.J. McCarthy. Overthrew everybody. I think the one interception against the Packers was against like Clayton Tune. With all due respect, NFL quarterback, but you gotta kind of realize who threw it. I think the one against the Patriots, good one. I'm all for that. The other one he had was against the Bengals. I think that was one that may have gotten tipped, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah. And he had one drop that went through his hands the Browns game week 2, and they called it for a touchdown. Because I was right in front of me at the game. I don't know if you remember that. It went like right through his arms. I got tipped, and one of their Browns receivers called it for a touchdown.
Oh, so, yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
I think somebody mentioned in their chat before, like Marlon Humphrey since like 21 has had like this really good season, bad season. Good season, bad season. We haven't seen that consistent Marlon since the contract. So speaking strictly football here, down season last year, him having a good season this year would do wonders for the defense. Forced fumbles, turnovers, lockdown defensive back play. But to go back to the internet stuff, I liked him more when it was the controversial food takes. Hey, listen, if you want
Yeah.
to hate on mac and cheese, guess what? I get it. I get it. I'm not mad at it. I like mac and cheese, but if you don't like it, I'm fine with it. There's levels to the rage baiting, I'd say.
Yeah, my thing is like, bro, go be a vet, right? Like, go hit up the younger guys. Like, go talk to them. You don't need to be online, giving you. All right, I'm done. I'm done with Marlon Humphrey. I'm done with Marlon Humphrey. He is
Marlon and Jacoby Lane podcast this season is it gonna happen? I mean, like
my gosh,
his fourth
bro.
one.
Can you imagine? Oh, how insufferable that would be.
Bleacher Report, what sponsor? They'd have every single clip posted. You know that. Fanatics will be first on, having any type of merchandise.
Literally shoot
It's
me.
so easy to see. NFL is going to repost everything.
Literally shoot me. I don't know if I would be able to stand that. I would not be able to stand that at all. All right, listen, let's go ahead and move on here. Marlon Humphrey, look, get it together. Get it together. Or Ravens just cut him post June 1. Either one. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. All right, let's see. So earlier today, I was scrolling the interwebs, right? And I saw a national media pundit who goes by the name of Jason McIntyre, who is currently filling in for Colin Cowherd on the Colin Cowherd Show. And he had some things to say about Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, comparing him to Jalen Hurts and how Jalen Hurts gets all the criticism that Lamar Jackson doesn't.
How is that exactly? Why is that? Why is it a make or break season? And I'm looking at the numbers and people are like, well, he's not throwing the ball over the middle. All right, the numbers show a little reluctance to go over the middle. Okay. I know Colin's vacationing in Spain, so he won't hear this. I can take a shot. Jalen Hurts doesn't throw a great deep ball. Jalen Hurts isn't 6'5". The tush push isn't sexy. You know what's sexy is Lamar Jackson, right? Flashy, fun, shake and bake, Ricky Bobby. He's moving around in the pocket. He's eluding defenders. He's dancing. He's got 2 MVPs. And I asked the staff this morning, I was like, Lamar Jackson doesn't get the criticism Jalen Hurts does. Is it because Lamar is fun and exciting and flashy? 2 MVPs. Hasn't been to a Super Bowl. You could go look at his performance in the AFC Championship at home against the Chiefs. Rotten. I don't know. Why is Lamar Jackson escaping criticism and Jalen Hurts is a punching bag?
All right. So you heard there, Jason McIntyre, a.k.a. J-Mac from the Colin Cowherd Show, basically low-key calling Lamar Jackson a fraud a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That's what I took from it. Like, listen, he's saying, hey, look, Jalen Hurts, he's actually been to 2 Super Bowls, won 1, right? And you're looking at this other guy over here, Lamar Jackson, who's got multiple MVPs, first-team All-Pros, but has never been to a Super Bowl. And in some of the biggest moments of his career, a.k.a. the AFC Championship game in 2023, he, was putrid, right? Is basically what J-Mac is saying here. What did you take from this, Alex? I mean, do you think that the national media, and I feel like I already know where you're going with this, but like, do you think the national media is too easy on Lamar and they're much harder on Jalen Hurts? Because I disagree.
He's got the wrong quarterback. To act like Lamar Jackson gets coddled, doesn't get criticized, is a joke. And it's just pure lying, because I know Jason McIntyre is on the internet. I know it. This isn't, the guy who just doesn't have a Twitter account, one of those older guys. I know he does. So I know he's seen it. Lamar Jackson didn't have interceptions called, oh, hold up, pause.
Yes, sir.
Pause. Kwame, thank you. 2 months of a membership. And he says, how did the judge from America's Next Top Model get this job as a pundit? Jason McIntyre. You have questions that have to be answered. How?
Yeah.
86 Ghosts. 4 months. Thank you.
Clap it up for the members.
Episode 410. Charm City
Giveaway.
Graphic Tee. Giveaway. Make sure you're here. Thursday.
Yeah.
86 Ghosts. Kwame. They'll be there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, go ahead.
going back, like I said, Lamar's interceptions didn't get called an arm punt. You remember that? He hasn't
Yeah.
had stats just been looked at different than other because they are trying to push narrative for him as a MVP. And I knew Jason McIntyre sounded familiar. I knew it did. I did some searching. This is the same goofball who on February 18th said the Raiders get Lamar Jackson and give him a new deal. The Ravens get Mendoza, a 2027 first round pick, and Max Crosby. Who says no?
Did he really
It
say
has-
that? No, like, did he really say
it-
that?
It has 84 likes on Twitter, 6 retweets. All 6 of them being, oh wow, every single retweet is just a quote tweet. And 542 replies.
Holy ratio. That is crazy. Oh my gosh.
I knew he sounded familiar. I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah, it
This guy just
definitely
isn't living in a reality. He's elsewhere.
he's not. And it definitely it gives, like, you know, rent due clickbaity behavior because, like, listen, man, Jason McIntyre, step into my office. Number one, the very show that you are on right now, the Colin Cowherd show, while you're filling in for Colin Cowherd while he's on vacation in Spain, your boss, Colin Cowherd, literally just 2 weeks ago listed Lamar Jackson as a worse quarterback than the likes of Justin Herbert. Okay. So where do we get off saying that Lamar Jackson doesn't get the criticism that a Jalen Hurts gets when literally your boss just ranked a guy, Justin Herbert, who has 0 playoff wins? You want to talk about playoff appearances and performances and things like that? He's got 0 playoff wins. Most of his playoff performances are bad. He's got no MVPs, no first team All Pros. Yet your boss, J-Mac, ranked him above Lamar Jackson. And you want to say Lamar Jackson doesn't get the criticism that Jalen Hurts gets? Now, number 2, J-Mac, while you're in here in my office, I will tell you this. Here's what I'll agree. I don't understand a lot of the criticism that is levied against Jalen Hurts. And the reason why I don't understand it is because he is a Super Bowl MVP, right? Could have been a 2-time Super Bowl MVP if his defense didn't give it away towards the end there in that first Super Bowl against the Chiefs a couple years ago, right? And this is why I've been saying so, you know, for so long on this podcast, like, I feel like Jalen Hurts doesn't deserve any of this criticism that he's getting because he's a proven quarterback, winning quarterback. He just is. He just is. You know? And when it comes to, because J-Mac, he talked about, like, oh, it being sexy and things like that. Lamar Jackson doesn't get the criticism because he's fun to watch. He's electrifying and things like that. But even with Lamar Jackson being so fun to watch and being electrifying, even with him putting up 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions in a season, people still discredit him. He literally did not win MVP in a season where he literally beat Josh Allen in pretty much every statistical category when it came to quarterbacking. But much like Tony Romo said, I'll never forget it, Alex. It was that 4 p.m. game, Bills versus whoever it was. And Tony Romo says on the call, he says, basically in so many words, he said, I would want to give it to Lamar, but I think it's just Josh's turn. Right? It's little stuff like that that the media does against Lamar Jackson to why you can't get up here and say this about him on such a huge platform, J-Mac. You just can't, because the proof is in the pudding. If we didn't criticize Lamar Jackson, he'd have 3 MVPs by now. Period. Point. I mean, that's like end of discussion right there for me, Alex. I mean, what do you think?
They said voter fatigue when talking about NFL MVP.
Yeah.
Voter fatigue when talking about a sport's most valuable player. Voter fatigue.
Politics.
When he put together a season that we had not seen in a very long time. Like I said, they discredited an interception, calling it a punt, and saying it's so-and-so's turn. Really? It's my turn to win the lottery.
Yeah.
I haven't won it. Like, how does that even sound? Yeah, but it's my turn, so I'm going to win it. But it's my turn. Not criticized. They don't believe in it. He still doesn't. The problem is the most backhanded compliment when somebody tries to, in I guess, talk about Lamar, talk about him throwing. He's really improved. He's gotten better. He's always been like that the past couple of years. You're just noticing it.
Yeah.
He's been a damn good, and just stop. It just is such a backhanded slap in the face. Like, man, he's gotten so much better. From his rookie year, yeah, but you cannot say that in the past year or so. He's been a damn good passer. It's it's disingenuous. It really is.
The goalposts are always on the move when it comes to Lamar Jackson. We're kind of used to that. This is just kind of like another iteration of that, because again, like if there's any quarterback in the National freaking Football League, it's got to be Justin Herbert. If there's anyone who you want to get these type of takes off against, and again, no shade to Herbert. It's not that I dislike him. It's nothing like that at all. But when you look at where he is perceived to be ranked in terms of quarterbacks in this league, pretty much everybody would have him consensus top 10 somewhere in there. But the fact that you have zero, and I mean zero, quite literally zero playoff production, and he gets no smoke ever. Justin Herbert gets to live his merry, happy little life with him and Madison Beer, right? Just scot-free. He never faces any sort of criticism. Literally, the moment that he loses a playoff game, if he even makes the playoffs, it's like the media is banned from talking about Justin Herbert until next September. That's what it feels like, because we just never get, and then you get these little lists. Again, J-Mac, your boss, put Justin Herbert above Lamar Jackson, but we don't criticize Lamar enough? What are we talking about? We don't criticize Lamar enough, but they literally told him to play wide freaking receiver before he came in the league. But we don't criticize him enough. It's insane, bro. It's insane that guys like this can get up there and basically, in so many words, call Lamar Jackson a fraud. Real quick, we have a gifted membership here in the chat from our guy Mikey, gifting a PRP membership. Let's clap it up for him. We got one lucky person here who was the recipient of that, who will now qualify to win. And that was Faheezy. Faheezy was gifted the membership.
Easy.
He is now qualified to win that free shirt that we're giving away on Thursday's episode. So shout out to you, Faheezy, and shout out to you, of course, Mikey, for gifting that membership.
You bring up Justin Herbert. He is, I think, right now, the quarterback with the least amount of smoke in the AFC West. Bo Nix gets a lot of smoke. I've seen Patrick Mahomes drop on the quarterback rankings. Mendoza unproven. Kirk Cousins. There's Justin Herbert in Candyland. Him and Madison Beer making TikToks, music videos. I don't know, man.
Isn't that like just nobody cares about LA? Like, is that what it is? I don't know.
Then you have the Rams share the same stadium, just won the Super Bowl contenders.
I feel like we're getting like a it's like a Los Angeles Lakers and Los Angeles Clippers situation, right? Where you have the one team in LA, right, who's the Lakers, who's like the Rams, right? They're the big one, big star. They're going to be in the conversation for the finals or the championship, whatever, by the end of it. And then you have the Clippers, who are like the little brother, like you mentioned. It's like, we'll watch them, but it's like whatever. And that's what the Chargers are. I mean, you look at their stadiums and home games. I mean, it don't look too good. There's so much going on, I feel like, in Los Angeles that they barely have time for one football team, let alone two, right? So if the one is going to be the one that's like clearly the more dominant, the Rams, most people will just kind of flock to them, right? And the media will talk about them. But the Chargers are just kind of like that afterthought team where nobody really talks about them. Nobody really thinks about them until it's time to play them on Sunday, right? So maybe that's what it is. Maybe we just don't care about that side of the LA market as much. I don't know. I'm trying to
No,
come up with
no, you're 100% right
Yeah.
because they're more known for their social media than their play on the field at times. But you saw that schedule release video.
Yeah.
But
That's
we
their
didn't see
Super Bowl.
Justin Herbert against the Texans. Against the Texans 2 years ago, or against the Jags a couple years ago when he blew a 21-0 lead in the playoffs.
Talk about it.
But going back to your LA point, it's just the fans. I guess the people that get invited to those games, they could give a rat's ass as long as their vlog's good, their TikTok looks good. They're gone by the third quarter. They aren't staying the whole game. They got their content.
Yeah, no.
Going on home, beating the traffic. That's LA.
Yeah. That's LA for you. That is LA for you. Okay. So let's move on from that. Again, guys, over 100 people watching live right now. Shout out to you guys watching this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast, episode 409. Please be sure to leave a like. That's right. A thumbs up on this video goes a long, long way here at PRP. So if you could do that, just take a little second, like the video. We'd appreciate it. Let's go ahead and move on here, Alex. So a couple more things to touch on before we get out of here. So there's been a lot of discourse recently about the wide receiver room in Baltimore and what the future of it really looks like. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately, Alex. Of course, you have Zay Flowers, who is the wide receiver 1. You've got Rashad Bateman, who is the wide receiver 2. And whoever's out there disagrees with that, you can debate your mother. And then also, look, if you're hating on Bate, you're going in this book. I got this book here. This little blue book here. I have a book, and I've already started writing names. If you're a Bateman hater, let me know in the chat, and you're going in the book. Because guess what? I'm keeping receipts going into the season. If Bateman starts cooking, I'm reading off all these names I was hating in May, right? So just let me know. Again, there's a couple names already on there. I think I got like 4 or 5 names on there so far. Let me know in the chat if you want to be on that Bateman hate list, because I'm keeping receipts, like I said, from my boy Bate. But then, of course, you have the rookies, Jacoby Lane, Elijah Surratt, Tez Walker as well is still floating around there. So what I want to ask you, Alex, is this. The fact that the Ravens went and drafted in the 3rd and 4th round 2 wide receivers, do you think that tells us that the plan for the future at pass catcher is here? For lack of better words, I think Bateman might be in trouble. As much as I just talked about Rashad Bateman, I think he might be in trouble because this wide receiver room is getting very crowded, and you've got 2 young guys that you just bought in with 2 high draft picks. They're going to play. They're going to get opportunities, right? Zay Flowers, of course, is going to be the wide receiver 1. That's Lamar's boy. That's a done deal. So where does Bateman fit into that? And then, honestly, Alex, because Zay Flowers has, 2 years left, I believe, on his rookie deal?
Yes,
I believe it's 2 seasons left. Yeah, plenty of time for either Elijah Surratt and or Jacoby Lane to break out. Imagine if it's both of them, which I think is possible. If Lamar takes a liking to both of those guys, I think you're definitely saying goodbye to Bateman, unfortunately for me. And I'll have a whole freaking funeral and eulogy for Rashad Bateman right here on this channel if that were to happen. Awesome.
I'll be there.
But also, I think that Zay Flowers is not safe. I don't know if he's safe. And the only reason I say that, Alex, again, if Surratt and Lane can break out, I think it would have to be both of them, of course. Mm-hmm. But if both of them can break out and you have them on the cheap for the next 4 seasons, I mean, you might not want to pay Zay Flowers $90+ million. Am I right?
That is a big if. But first off, Mr. 205 Young Savage, thank you for the 5. He says, Bate is not a wide receiver 2. He has to prove it. No hate. I just don't see it. I see you picked the list up. I see you picked it up. I see you're writing it.
Yeah.
You're like
Going in
Santa
the book.
Claus. You have a list. You're gonna check if they're naughty or nice. And I feel like with this isn't hate. It's a statement. Let me just put that there. It's not hating, not name calling, not calling them, Balenciaga bait, should be on the fashion runway. None of that. Just I respect it. Respect it.
Yeah, could be. I mean, listen, it may not be hate, but he's in the book. He's in the book, so it's all good. And I have the $5 donation written down next to it, so I know you feel some conviction about this, young Savage. So I cannot wait for the season to roll around. I'm making the list, like you said, checking it twice. So there it is. But thank you so much, young Savage, for the $5 super chat donation, brother.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Going to your point, it's a huge if, and when we draft these receivers in twos, I just go back to, I think it was like 2013, Aaron Millette, Marlon Brown. I go to 2018, Jordan Lasley, Jaleel Scott. And I remember high school me being like, man, we got these two young guys. That I remember me, couple years, I'm growing up. I'm like, all right, no, a little bit more football, man. Like, I'm in college now. Jaleel Scott, Jordan Lasley, these guys, they could be it. And here I am as an adult. Jacoby Lane and Elijah Surratt, I'm still telling myself these same things. I really want to believe you're right. And I'm thinking, okay, Mark Trestman as the OC. Marty Morningwig as an OC. Declan Doyle as an OC. And there's a real big difference out of all of those three. Not to be an ageist. Sometimes I know I may seem like one with the Aaron Rodgers of the world and the Todd Munkins and the older OCs, but we saw what he did. Granted, Luther Burden, fantastic talent. Roma Dunze, a fantastic talent. I'm not comparing the two. But it's getting his young guys opportunities, giving them plays, giving them opportunities of which give them the ball, see what they can do. Let's not just throw them up a 50-50 ball on a DB 1 or 2. Give them a chance to make a play. I think they will have that chance this year. And I actually put a video out today of Elijah Surratt because obviously you called me a Lane fanboy, and I am one of the founding members of the Jacoby Lane FC. If you want to join in, the football club, Day Lane, all for it. I'm very impressed with what he can bring. I am very impressed with Elijah Surratt. For a lot of talk about him not, creating separation, let's put him in positions where maybe a rub. Maybe he's wide open. Maybe you send some crossers and the DB loses him and he's wide open in the flat. And there you go. Like, let's not just give him 50-50 balls. Let's make opportunities for these guys. And who knows? And I'm not going to sit here and say these guys are the next, A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. But if they can be guys who give us some good just yardage usage, I'm all for it. So I'm excited about these two. Not to go back to their, duo as I mentioned. There's something different with these guys. I saw, he had 13, 14 touchdowns in Indiana. He made plays in the biggest games possible. We aren't taking guys who played in Power 5 divisions, with all due respect. This isn't us hyping up Dante Demas from Maryland a couple years ago as UDFA. This is us hyping up a guy who played in the biggest games possible. Played with quarterbacks that are now number one, Caleb Williams. Played with Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah.
I'm the preseason can't get here quick enough to see these guys in action because it just feels different. It feels different, not to get off the point, but fingers crossed. And you have Bate, you have Zay, and to me, Bate is a receiver too. He's a receiver too. Yeah. And he doesn't even make a huge step. Our next segment, we'll talk about it. But yeah, it just feels different with these guys. It does.
Yeah. I mean, sticking with Elijah Surratt really quick. And real quick, we got a super chat donation. This one's coming from Chris. My good sis Chris, dropping the $2 in the chat, says, Sutton, please go to hell with the Zay talk. Come on, Chris, you gonna do me like that? Go to hell? Is crazy. That is nuts. But listen, you can say what you want. I'm not slandering Zay Flowers today. That's not what I'm here to do today. I'm just saying that it is very, very possible that Jacoby Lane and Elijah Surratt can be this team's next big wide receiver duo that allows the Ravens to move on from Zay Flowers. Dare I say, let him graduate, right, to another team, right? That might be a little rage baity for you Zay Flowers stands out there, like Chris, much like Chris. But listen, man, I mean, it's talking about Elijah Surratt. I think that because I watched your video that you put out earlier today too. That's part of the reason why I'm asking you the question now. But Elijah Sarratt, I think the thing that I love about him the most is that, a popular misconception about him, I think, is that he's just a 50-50 ball catcher, just a jump ball guy, when he's not. His route running is very, very crisp. I mean, very crisp. When you watch Elijah Sarratt, go back after this podcast, go and watch some highlights of Elijah Sarratt. Watch how he goes through his route. Watch how he, at the top of his stem, breaks it off using very, very minimal, if any at all, wasted motion, right? Some guys coming in and out of their breaks, they take an extra step or two, right, to kind of get themselves back on the course that they want to get on. And that allows the defender just enough time to close the distance. With Elijah Sarratt, he's such a tough guard. He's such a tough cover because Kwame, appreciate the jewels. Flow State, 200 jewels from Kwame. Appreciate that, brother. He's such a good separator because, I mean, like, again, he has very little wasted motion, right? So he's so hard to guard out in space. And I think that you're going to see a lot of timing routes with Elijah Sarratt. And I hope that Declan Doyle and Lamar Jackson come to the conclusion that this is how we want to use this guy, right? On 3rd and 6, we can line this guy up in the slot. We can send him over the middle, right? He's going to lose his guy. He's going to be right where he needs to be on time, and Lamar Jackson get the ball out in the red zone. If we need to throw a fade ball up to this guy, we can do that as well. If we need to go back shoulder, we can do that as well. He can do it all. Okay, he can do it all. The one thing I will say about Elijah Sarratt, a little bit, just a tiny bit, a little bit stiff for me. In his movement, I think that that's something that can be, coached out of him as well. But him, and then of course Jacoby Lane. I mean, what are we talking about? 6'4". You talk about a guy who, at the catch point, is just an animal. Again, you could possibly see Zay Flowers become a little bit, dare I say, obsolete in this Ravens offense. And I hate to say that, Alex, but you know what Lamar Jackson responds to the best when it comes to his pass catchers. It's bigger bodies. It's stronger hands. That's what he prefers. So I could see a world where, especially in a Declan Doyle offense, who, again, with the Bears last year, they spread it all around. Targets were going everywhere. It wasn't lopsided like it was here in Baltimore, where Zay Flowers got over a third of the targets. No, everybody was getting the ball. The ball was getting spread around in Chicago last year. So I think that if they kind of bring that same sort of play style here to Baltimore, where everybody eats in this wide receiving core, you could very well see Lamar Jackson develop a relationship with Jacoby Lane and Elijah Sarratt early on. And eventually, it's not going to make much sense to pay Zay Flowers $30+ million a year if you're not giving him 33% plus of the target share. Do you get what I'm saying, Alex? Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me. Do I think it'll happen? I don't think it'll happen, but it's a possibility. I mean, for Pete's sake, if one of them, and this is once again hypothetical, look at Puka Nacua. He was so damn good. The Rams said, you know what? Cooper Kupp,
we love you, but
Super Bowl MVP. I know he had his fair share of getting banged up, and Zay has been healthy his whole career, but we've seen teams move on from the guy who they've trusted for a while. And I know he was getting older, and Zay is about at his prime. But you gotta look at the cap and now at Lamar. It's gonna be high. Hell, look at Roquan eating up $32 million in cap. Almost at euros.
Yeah.
Dollars. $30 million in cap. Crazy. And I'm glad we are on this topic because I feel like I haven't given Elijah Sarratt enough love. While making the video today, I came across a stat about midway through the season. The most 15+ yard receptions and rushes for active Big Ten receivers since 2024. Number 1, Jeremiah Smith. He had 36. Shoe-in first-round pick. I mean, come on now. We know what he is. He'll top whatever. Top 3, top 5 next year. All right. Number 2, Elijah Sarratt with 28. 4th-round pick.
And real quick, what was the stat again?
Most 15+ yard receptions and rushes.
Okay, and rushes. Got you.
A guy who was at James Madison not too long ago. Went to Indiana with his new coach. Just produced.
Here's another stat, Alex. Elijah Sarratt caught a touchdown on 23% of his receptions this past season. And since 2022, He was first in touchdowns with 44, first in yards with 3,652, and first in contested catches with 54. Elijah Surratt also has 242 career collegiate receptions and 0 fumbles. No fumbles. No fumbles. Listen, I'm not going to go too far on the Zay thing. But if there's one thing that I can't stand about Zay Flowers, it's the fumbleitis. That's the only thing. It's that, and then the not being able to run straight at times. Not trusting his speed. I'll say that. I think that's more fair to say. Zay Flowers doesn't trust his speed at times, then at other times he fumbles. Frequently. Pretty frequently. The fact that Elijah Surratt is like the polar opposite of that. You know what I mean? If he can run in a straight line, we've seen him do that at Indiana, right? He doesn't fumble, clearly. He's a big play guy. And again, I would want Zay Flowers. I want Zay Flowers, for the record. I'm going to put this on wax too. I want Zay Flowers to have another 1,000+ yard season. I want him to remain in Baltimore because I think he's a very, very talented receiver. He's a dangerous weapon that the Ravens have. I just think that with knowing what we know about Lamar Jackson and the type of receivers he prefers to throw to, right? I'm not talking about the guys that he likes and that he wants the Ravens to draft. It's a difference between what a guy says and what a guy does, right? There's a difference between what a person says and what they do. Lamar Jackson may say, oh yeah, get all the Florida boys you can possibly get for me. I don't care if they're shorter than 6 feet. I don't care. Give me my Florida boys. Hollywood, give them to me. Zay Flowers, give them to me. Right? But on the field, where's that 6'4" Isaiah Likely? Where's that 6'5" Mark? Oh, he's right there. Easy target right there. Let me just throw it up to him. I trust that. You know? And I think you're going to see a lot of that with Elijah Surratt. As soon as Lamar Jackson figures that he can just kind of throw it up to Jacoby Lane and Elijah Surratt, he's going to be looking for them all the time. And again, it's going to get to a point where like we're looking at Zay Flowers' production and like, it's a little bit of a drop off from last year. Not to say that Zay Flowers is worse, but he's just not getting the looks that he used to get when he was seemingly the only option, right? So I don't know, man. Yeah, some of you guys might disagree with me on that. I'm sure you do. Definitely comment down below if you're part of the replay gang on what you think about the future of this wide receiver room. Because like, if you think about what it's going to look like in 4 years from today, Alex, 4 years from today, I don't know if Zay Flowers is a Raven. I just don't.
I know one thing though. I know Mr. 205 Young Savage has joined the Rain Gang. I do know that. Welcome
Yes, sir.
to the family. And real quick, before I get into your comment, you are now entered for a giveaway on Thursday for episode 410 for the Ravens Charm City graphic tee. Be here around 7:30, 7:45. Spin the wheel, and maybe you get selected. He says, so you think 8 still trusts Mark Andrews? I think so. I do. That's his guy.
Yeah.
I think actions and words have backed it. He still goes to him in very crucial moments. Even when he's let him down more times than not in the playoffs, he still goes to him.
And even Lamar, I think you remember after the Bills lost in the divisional a couple years ago, didn't he go to the podium? Lamar Jackson did and said, like, he basically stood up for Mark Andrews and said, we shouldn't have been in that situation to begin with and things like that. Of course, he wasn't going to just throw him under the bus. Oh, he should have caught that. But like, I definitely think he still trusts him though.
And I remember he brought the interception and he cursed about the fumble. When he dropped back, it was a bad snap, picked it up, and then I think Von Miller strip sacked him. I know he was throwing expletives out about that. Yeah. Definitely still trust him, but that's a whole other story. It's a tight end room, a whole other story. And didn't a tight end have a really good, a good week last week? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Speaking of tight ends, by the way, shout out to Ashley in the chat. One of our members here says Lamar said that's his guy. Yeah, I think that still reigns true to this day. Mark Andrews is still Lamar Jackson's guy. But speaking of tight ends, like you mentioned, Alex, there was a tight end last week who kind of had a breakout performance, a couple of them in OTAs, right? And that was Josh Cuevas, right? What was he, 6th round pick for us? 6th round?
I believe so. Alabama.
Yeah, out of Alabama. And this is a guy who, nobody's really talking about the Ravens' new tight end room. They lost Isaiah Likely. Of course, Mark Andrews is still there, like we just talked about. But now you have these two rookies in Hibner and Cuevas who are going to have an immediate role, right? They're going to have an immediate role in this offense, especially considering if the Ravens are going to come out in some of these more 13 personnel with one running back and 3 tight ends on the field, you're definitely going to see these guys get burned. But Josh Cuevas, they said in OTAs, I mean, he had multiple really good catches. I think he had a one for a touchdown. He had a diving catch, right? He's just doing everything. He's just doing everything so far. And I love to see it. Did you hear about that?
I did. The diving catch really stuck out to me because Lamar's gonna love you if you can maybe 3rd and 10 throws across body. You make a nice sliding catch, which we see Mark Andrews do. That's how
Yeah.
you get in his good graces, and he'll go back to you again, like we've seen with Isaiah Likely, even Kolar in points. In the dump off, if Kolar's left open, they always forget about the fat white dude. He's wide open. That was Charlie Kolar's words, not mine. So that's good to hear. And then Hibner as well. I think he'll come on, but it's always one or the other with these tight ends. It's never both. Give me
Yeah.
both of them having good years. I just don't want it to be another, Hayden Hurst, Mark Andrews. And Hayden Hurst did retire, by the way, recently. So congrats to him. Good football career.
Yeah, Alex, I think if because we just got done talking about the new wide receivers, I think that, out of Elijah Surratt, Jacoby Lane, Matthew Hibner, and Josh Cuevas, if you just hit on half of those guys, right? Whatever combination you want to give me, preferably I'd say one of the wide receivers, one of the tight ends, but whatever combination you want to give me, I mean, that's a win. That's a huge win for this Ravens offense. Don't you think?
It's funny you bring it up because when I asked you the best Ravens draft class of all time, what are you going to say?
The best one of all time? Of all time?
Oh, recent
I'd
memory.
have to go back and recent memory.
For me, 96. When you draft Ogden and Ray back to back, that's damn good. But recent memory, a lot of people say 2018. Because I can go down who we got there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hayden Hurst, Lamar, Orlando Brown Jr., Mark Andrews, Deshaun Elliott, a Bradley Bozeman, a Zach Sealer, who's productive. But that same year, we drafted Hayden Hurst, Mark Andrews, Jaleel Scott, Jordan Lasley. 2 receivers, 2 tight ends. Didn't hit on the receivers. The 2 tight ends was looking pretty good the first 2 years. If you can, if you can hit on 2 of those guys, you're already one up in that draft class. For me, we only hit on Mark Andrews. Hayden Hurst was serviceable for us, but didn't amount to that first round pick that he was taken, especially before Lamar Jackson.
I definitely agree.
Out of South Carolina.
If you like you said, I agree. If you hit on 2 of those guys from this most recent draft class, now I do think it would trump the 2018 draft class. If and only if though, Vinga Ioane ends up being what we think Vinga Ioane is going to be, right? Because in that first round of 2018, obviously getting Hayden Hurst, it was cool for the first couple of seasons, and then let him go. But Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. That Vinga would have to live up to he has some pretty big shoes to fill. Not to say that he has to be as impactful as Lamar Jackson. We know that's not possible, but he has to be what we expect him to be at that left guard or right guard spot. We don't know still what he's going to play, but yeah, I do agree. I do agree there. I mean, you're very close. You're very, very close. I mean, if a couple of those guys, those skill players, you got a lot of skill players, right? A lot of skill players in this draft. If one of them breaks out, we're not even talking about Adam Randall. If one of those guys
Zion
breaks
Young.
out, but Zion Young, I mean, honestly, Alex, just sticking to the offense, just literally sticking to the offense. Like I mentioned, Hibner, Cuevas, Lane, and Surratt, and then Randall. That's 5 guys right there. If you can hit on 2, again, if you can hit on 2 of those guys, that is a massive W. A massive W.
You know what? You're right, because a lot of people were, and obviously Lamar is a big reason why people love this draft class, but we didn't have a second round pick this draft class. We traded that. So I'll go through it all. Hayden Hurst, Lamar Jackson, Orlando Brown, Mark Andrews, Anthony Averett, Kenny Young, Jaleel Scott, Jordan Lasley, Deshaun Elliott, Greg Sonat, Bradley Bozeman, Zach Sealer. Also in that UDFA, we signed Gus Edwards and Darius Williams, who had a good career with the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar, when you're a quarterback, it just trumps it all. But one thing I think my problem with EDC, he hasn't been good in drafting later rounds. We've talked about that. Can we get a guy like a Zach Sealer who is really, really good for the Dolphins? A guy like Bradley Bozeman who could play, the center, guard, at a high level for us, not for Chargers. A guy like Deshaun Elliott who, when he was healthy, made plays for us. Anthony Averett, for what it was you could throw him out there at corner. At times you get burnt, and at other times you make plays. But we want to get guys who we're not just cutting after year 2, trading after the preseason, cutting after a bad preseason. We want to get some use out of these guys. So hopefully EDC Cook there, but you said with the offensive guys, if let's say a Jacoby Lane is a damn good receiver and Venga Ioane is a damn good offensive guard, all pro, and you have Adam Randall who maybe overtakes as running back 2 for maybe a Justice Hill. You're like, all right, ADC, it's about time, but you cooked. You cooked for
Yeah.
once.
So I just want just to put a bow on this conversation, Alex. I want to ask you this: out of those 5 players, Adam Randall, Jacoby Lane, Elijah Surratt, Josh Cuevas, and Matthew Hibner, if you could only pick 2, we're going back to the 2 levers game, right? If you could only pick 2 of those guys to pan out and actually be solid starters for this Ravens team, which 2 guys would they be?
Easily Venga. Has to be.
Oh no, not Venga, not Venga.
Oh, not Venga. Okay, not Venga. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Because I'm gonna say the line has to be the line. It's gonna have to be a receiver and a tight end. It's gonna have to.
So
be.
not Randall. You don't, because I think Randall is super underrated. It just because obviously Derrick Henry, you got
Right.
1 or 2 good seasons left. Then after that, where is your? Because Derrick Henry is the engine of this team, right? He's the engine of the offense. As much as we love Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry is predicated off of the run game. And Derrick Henry, once he's gone, you got to have that. There's going to be some huge shoes to fill, right? So I would rather a seamless transition from one great running back to another. That would be one of my selections. After that, I think you got to go Elijah Surratt. He's just the more complete receiver as opposed to Jacoby Lane right now, from what I see. And I think that Elijah Surratt, he gives me a lot of Puka Nacua, right? Doesn't have to win necessarily with his athleticism, but, damn good route runner. And then at the catch point, he's awesome. That could be something. So if I had to pick only 2, again, out of Adam Randall, Hibner, Cuevas, Surratt, and Lane, I'm going Adam Randall and I'm going Surratt.
I'm going Surratt. I'm going Hibner. Tight end and a receiver. Because we've been able to sign some running backs. We got Mark Ingram. He gave us, a really good year and then a year. We can hit on the older running backs, but let me develop a receiver and let me develop another tight end, and we can graduate from Mark Andrews, hopefully, and he can make those catches in the big games.
I'll tell you one thing, Alex. I do not miss the days of Latavius Murray and Devonta Freeman running
true.
the football for the Ravens. So when we talk about like getting older running backs and hitting on them, it's just like
Did not mention those 2 for a reason. But also UDFA as well. Gus Edwards.
yeah.
But it's more and more looking like he was a product of Lamar Jackson. And a lot of running backs are, and that's no disrespect. Derrick Henry is a different animal, a completely different animal.
For sure.
But guys,
I saw somebody say earlier online somewhere. They said that Derrick Henry is the Matthew Stafford of running backs because he basically like revitalized his career. I mean, he was still great in Tennessee, but smaller market, not really too much going on there. Then he gets to Baltimore, and it's like he's dominating all over again. Hasn't won that ring yet, but it's kind of like their careers. They share some parallels for sure.
They do. I mean, there were times he got respect, but it's like he comes over here. It's been a little bit different for him. Speaking of Tennessee, Super Bowl's there in 2030 in Nashville.
I heard about that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sure. I don't know. The Super Bowl, I mean, super corporate event in Nashville. I mean, I guess there's going to be.
Broadway would be crazy.
Yeah. Oh, you were just there, weren't you?
Time. Broadway's a good time.
Yeah.
I was there during St. Patrick's Day, and then they were having the NCAA tournament at the Bridgestone Arena right there on this trip, and it was a good time. It was a good time.
True. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun. I hope that they bring one day a Super Bowl to DC, or because they're building that new stadium.
Depends how the draft goes. I feel like next year, we'll see.
Should be fine. They're gonna have it on the probably the National Mall, I would assume.
Yeah.
Enough space there,
I
yeah.
feel like if it's a good event overall, if it gets positive reviews, I feel like they can maybe be in contention. But at the same time, it's like, well, the weather and are they
It'll
building a
get
dome though?
super
No, they're
positive.
not.
No, I don't think they're building a dome.
That's
They
one thing I
might
would-
have a retractable roof. I'm not sure. I have to go
that's
back and
the
look
only
at that.
thing.
Yeah. But all right, let's move on to our last topic here of the show, Alex. So what I want to bring up now is, we talked a lot about rookies. I saw somebody in the chat say, I think it was Afia, brings up a good point. Like, we're putting all these expectations on rookies before they even, put pads on and things like that. Love that take. I get it. So let's talk about some Ravens who are already Ravens, right? Who are vets on this team. Alex, I want you to give me 3 Ravens, your top 3 Ravens that you believe need to improve the most in 2026.
So I'm gonna start with the one that we share, and you sent me your list before, and I didn't want to have too many overlapping because I agree with exactly what you said. I'm not disagreeing at all. The first one I know we agree on, Roquan Smith.
Yeah.
$32.7 million cap hit. The level of play we've seen the last 2 years is nowhere near that cap hit at all. You've got to be better. I don't want to harp on it too much, but you have to be better. I want you to, attack the ball more, be more of a game changer for making that much money. We haven't seen it. Roquan Smith, number 1 for me.
Yeah,
Less said,
for
the better.
sure. I agree. I think that you need to see more than just run stuffing ability from Roquan Smith. I've said this many a times here on the show. I need to see some forced turnovers. You talk about guys who need to start getting some forced fumbles. It's Roquan Smith. I need to see him being that enforcer on the defense, right? And I feel like I could be wrong here, Alex, but there's not the craziest correlation here, but I feel like Roquan Smith performed better when Calais Campbell was here. Again,
22. The
yeah,
only year
not.
together.
I'm about to say, like, not the hugest correlation there, but maybe there is something there when it comes to sort of like the burden of leadership, right? I feel like Roquan puts a lot into, the pregame and stuff like that, kind of leading the troops in the battle. And then, it's almost as if like he uses up most of his energy pregame. And then in the game, it's like he's got no more chaos. He's got no juice to really fly around and be super impactful. Again, with all due respect to Roquan Smith, not to say he's not impactful at all. But again, for that $32 million and for you to be like, a player who's regarded as all pro status at your position, we need to see bigger impact. We need to see more impact. So yeah, no, I totally agree. Roquan Smith is number 1. Who's your number 2?
Number 2 is somebody that we focus a lot on earlier in the show, Marlon Humphrey. Once again, $26.2 million cap hit. Granted, 4 interceptions, yes. Was burnt a lot. I understand it. It's a Zach Orr defense last year. But if we're talking strictly needs to improve, if you're making that much money, in the grand scheme of things, we're putting you on, the higher end receivers, the upper echelon of receivers, you've got to perform better. So number 2 for me, Marlon Humphrey.
Yeah, I mean, Marlo, yeah.
We talked.
Listen,
we
talked about it. You better be glued to your receiver. Like I'm telling you, I don't want to see you get beat. Even though I know it's going to happen. Marlon Humphrey, he's only getting older, right? He's not going to be able to keep up with some of these younger guys. That's just how it goes. That's the nature of the game. But I definitely do think, again, because when you talk about just the value like that you're getting from these players, Roquan Smith, Marlon Humphrey, 2 peas in the same pot to me, right? Both of them need to step up. Both of them need to be a lot better than they have been, period, right?
2 cheeks of the same butt, as you may say as well. I know
for sure
that phrase does come out. Who's your number 2?
My number 2 is going to be Nate Wiggins. Okay, Nate Wiggins. Again, step into my office really quick. Not that I want to do this, but Sir Nate, Mr. Nate, you're going into year 3. what I need to see more out of you, Nate Wiggins, is just consistency, right? Consistency. Because so many times this past season, it was like Nate Wiggins would have a great game. It's like, oh, Nate Wiggins is everywhere. Oh, he's glued to his guy, whatever. And then the next game is like, what was Nate doing there? Right. And I get a lot of this can be attributed to Zach Orr's defense and where Nate Wiggins was positioned, because a lot of times he was positioned 10, 15 yards. He was given 10 yards of cushion to his wide receiver, to his man. And they would just eat that up. They would take advantage of it. Like, oh, you're not going to press up on Devontae Adams? Oh, yeah, he's just going to run an easy little route underneath you and pick up 10 yards. Easy. Right? We can do that all day. I saw that a lot from Nate Wiggins. I want to see him playing up more press coverage. I want to see him utilize that speed. And again, overall, I just want to see him be more consistent, because he was not ranked super high either last year when it came to cornerbacks, right? He was somewhere around the Marlon Humphrey range, right? He was not better than Cheeto Awuzie. Let's just say that. He was not better than Cheeto Awuzie on a consistent basis. And I think that says a lot for a former first round pick, especially going into year 3 now. I need to see more consistency out of Nate Wiggins. What do you think?
I agree. Definitely showed flashes. I think of the Packers game, he was getting torched. Malik Willis was picking on him. That was a bad one. I remember I was at a sports bar watching, like, damn, Nate, like this is a really bad game for you. And to your point, that Steeler game, he came back. I thought he had a good game. The 2 or 3 pass breakups was really, locking it down on his side of the field. It was just iffy the whole year for him, and I want to attribute that to Zach Orr, but at the same time, as a player, you have got to do better. So I'm all on this one. I think for Nate's sake, to get that second contract, it's a big year for him. It's a really big year. We saw Jesse Minter do more with less. Guys like Cam Hart, Benjamin St. Juste. Benjamin St. Juste got ran out of the Commanders. Had a good year for the Chargers last year. So, Nate Wiggins, I hope you are the next one to have a really good year for us. My third one, though.
Okay.
This one, I hope it doesn't shock you, because I feel like we are both critical of this player. Huge fans. Do not write my name in the book. Rashad Bateman. For this offense, don't write my name in the book. Last year, 19 catches, 224 yards. For this offense to take the next step, I need you, my brother. I hope you're listening. You have it all. You have it all. The hands, the route running, the style, not the celebrations. We'll work on that. We'll get in the end zone more. We'll get back to 2024. We'll have double-digit touchdowns again, but you've shown the flash. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that Bengal fan going back to 2021. They don't like when you say that. I found that out the hard way. I got cooked on Twitter. But I want to be the Raven fan going back to 2024 with Rashad Bateman. But as a fan, consistency. I feel like you'll get more targets. The O-line, I feel like will be better. When the ball's thrown to you, I feel like you'll catch it. You'll make some moves. But I do need to see better. And I think realistically for Bateman, if I can get 600-700 yards, no meme intended, no pun intended, and 5 or 6 touchdowns again, it's a good year. I want to see that bounce back year. I don't want to see you cut. I don't want to see you traded. I want it to be here. I want us to develop, hopefully, another receiver, another first-round receiver. You and Zay can complement each other. And hey, take one of these young guys under your wing. Let's build ourselves a trio. Rashad Bateman, I am banking on you. Let's be better this year.
Yeah. And real quick, Alex, do you know off the top of your head who's the Ravens' current wide receiver coach?
I do not, but I will happily look that up. It is
okay.
Kiri Colbert.
Kiri Colbert.
He, a little bit of background, he was with the Broncos. He worked with Declan Doyle in Denver. And he was the assistant wide receivers coach at Georgia State. And Jesse Minter was there as our DC. So he has some familiarity with our head coach and our OC. 43 years old. So we helped Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin, guys like that in Denver.
Yeah. And really quick, before I get back to that, Mr. 205 with the $2 Super Chat donation. Thank you so much, brother. Making it rain here on this episode. 409 of PRP says Zach Orr had the defense looking bad. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Very, very bad. And
add on about Colbert real quick. Mm-hmm. He was at USC. He helped Drake London, Michael Pittman Jr., Amon-Ra St. Brown. Add that on.
Okay. So what I wanted to say about, and why I asked you who the wide receiver coach was because I feel like when it comes to Rashad Bateman, the current Ravens wide receiver coach, they have their work cut out for them. And what I mean by that is Bateman is in a very, he's kind of like in the twilight zone of his career right now, where like you just don't really know which direction things can go, because I still feel like he has the potential to be a breakout player, right? And one of the better wide receivers in this league, if not a high end wide receiver 2 or flirting with a wide receiver 1. But the way his career has gone so far, of course, starting out hot, right? As soon as he got on the field for the Ravens, he was a chain mover. He was scoring touchdowns, things like that. But then he got hurt. He got banged up. And once he became damaged goods, the Ravens kind of shelved him a little bit by drafting Zay Flowers. And then when Zay Flowers got here, it was like, oh, Zay Flowers, he's our number 1 guy. He's a Florida dude. Lamar loves him. He loves Lamar. This is our wide receiver 1. And I think mentally, that kind of made Rashad Bateman check out a little bit. And now that this new coaching staff is in here and there's like a totally new game plan, I think that they need to have a heavy focus and emphasis on getting Rashad Bateman out of his funk mentally, because it's not about what Rashad Bateman can or cannot do on the football field, right? We've seen him have good hands, right? People say Rashad Bateman, he drops the ball too much. Miss me with that. He drops the ball pretty much just about as frequently as any other receiver on the Ravens. But he has great route running, great hands, right? And he's got size too. He's got good size. So I think he has all the tools. It's just the mental thing. I think about it like this, Alex. I remember back when I was working retail, and I worked at this retail store for maybe about 3 years, right? And after about a year and a half of working there, I'm already used to it. I'm used to my paycheck and things like that. I low-key want a raise, but I'm not asking for one yet. I'm kind of like in that stage, working for this company. And I remember there was a change in management, right? There was a total change in management. Like the general manager that I was used to, he was out the door, and then there was this new guy who came in. And about a week after the new guy started working there as general manager, and this was my new boss, he comes up to me and he tells me, he says, "Hey, I know you've been working here for a while. What I want to do is I want to give you a raise, right? I'm here now. I want to give you this raise." And I didn't even have to ask for that. He put more on my plate. Therefore, I said to myself subconsciously, okay, I got to step up and perform now, right? I'm going to perform better. And I think that that's like something that the Ravens should do with Rashad Bateman. Declan Doyle and Jesse Minter should come in and say, "Hey, look, Bateman, we know you've been here for a while. Right? We've seen like your performance. Like we know what you're capable of, right? We want to give you more opportunities. We see it in you. I need this new Ravens coaching staff to see it in Bateman, right? And if they can do that and kind of reset him mentally, I think we're going to see a much better Rashad Bateman this upcoming season." And again, if you don't agree with that, you're going in the book. Okay, it's still right here. You're going in the book. I got about 5 names right now. I can't go through the whole live chat right now, but if you want to go in the book, if you really want to be in there, put it down below in the comments. I'm writing you down. Okay. But yeah, I think that they need to reset his mental. I do.
That's a good point. I think he's a confidence based player. I think when his confidence is low, he'll show it. But when it's high, like in 24, back-to-back games and a touchdown in the playoffs, stepped up, should have had 2. We've seen it, and last year he was battling with some I words. Wasn't a good year all around, and it really showed for him. Some guys step up in those situations, some guys don't. Boost him up, like you said. Let's show him, you're here for a reason. We believe in you.
Yeah.
Pump his head up, and if he doesn't work out, guess what? You move on.
Yeah.
You trade him mid-season.
Simple as that.
Who do you have as number 3?
Number 3 for me, rounding out my list, is going to be right tackle Roger Rosengarten. Listen, man, I feel like Roger Rosengarten is one of those guys who fell victim to a sophomore slump. His rookie season, he showed a lot of promise, right? Most notably, locking up TJ Watt whenever he was opposite of him. That was probably his claim to fame on this roster, if you ask me. But in his sophomore campaign, it's not like he played in his totality. He didn't play terrible in his totality, right, throughout the season. But there were times like he was wildly inconsistent, much like Nate Wiggins, right? I have the same criticism for Roger Rosengarten that I do for Nate Wiggins. I just need to see a bit more consistency out of those guys. Just like what I said with Nate, same thing with Roger. You know, there were times where, especially in pass protection, Roger Rosengarten, I'm gonna just put it like this: he didn't look too good. He didn't look too hot in pass protection at certain times. Hell, even in run blocking at certain times, he did not look good. So I need him to take a step forward. I think that, you know, the right tackle position is his job to lose. Now, do I think it's all the way locked down? Maybe not, because like what you mentioned, I think you told me last week, Emory Jones is still floating out as a prospective tackle as well, because he played tackle at LSU. I think you told me so. Yeah, Roger Rosengarten, your job's not 1,000% safe. You know, you're coming off of a sophomore slump. I need you to bounce back, have a good junior campaign. But what do you think about that, Roger Rosengarten?
You know, it's interesting, but I don't disagree. And I'm not gonna let guys off easy because of, you know, last year. At a point, you have to be held accountable. And I know you had. I almost said something really mean, but I'm a new man. I'm a new man now. You had a player of the lesser degree to your left, and as I know it hurts you, but you did put out some bad tape last year. Let's roll it back. Let's show me that guy who was, you know, really giving it to TJ Watt, to Myles Garrett. You asked him for his jersey, and you have it probably hanging up in your house. You went to war against Myles Garrett. You did a damn good job. Let me see that Roger Rosengarten again. That's the one that I know we drafted second round. And hopefully, you know, you have a new left guard next to you. We have a new O-line coach. Maybe George Warhop was committing war crimes on you. And now you're, you know, back to yourself. Got that stench off of you. That's a great pick. Because he did perform, you know. Everybody did, I think, outside of Ronnie Stanley last year. Linderbaum didn't have the best year, but we kind of chalked it up to who was left and who was to his right. But if we're going to, you know, treat Linderbaum like that, Rosengarten, they're the same. So, good choice. Didn't think of that, honestly.
Yeah, a couple of Ravens definitely need to step up this upcoming season. Like, again, in summary, I picked Nate Wiggins, I picked Roquan Smith, and I picked Roger Rosengarten as my 3. And you said for your 3, you're going with Bate, you're going with Roquan, and then who was the other one again?
Marlon,
right? Yeah.
He had a whole segment on it. I had an honorable mention though, and it's not really who has to step up. Roderick Washington. I was going through our cap hits. 5.8 million cap hit. Played 3 games last year, got hurt, but in 2024, only played 45% of snaps.
Yeah.
With, you know, when you are drafting guys like Peebles, I know it's all different. You bring back a Calais. Do we really have the luxury of paying this guy almost $6 million to probably play less than now 40 to 35% of snaps? I'm not too sure.
I'm not too sure about that either, especially considering we weren't willing to give Keaton Mitchell, $4 million.
Point.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I love that. Definitely got to step up for Broderick Washington. But okay, what I want you guys to do is I want you to comment down below in the comment section Ravens that you think need to step up in the 2026 season. No rookies, just already Ravens. Who needs to step up? Let us know down below in the comment section. Before we wrap up this episode here of the Purple Rain Podcast, episode 409, we would be remiss if we did not remind you that we will be having another giveaway episode on Thursday's show, where we will be giving away this very t-shirt, this Charm City Baltimore Ravens t-shirt in commemoration for and in celebration for episode 410 of the Purple Rain Podcast being on this Thursday. Again, today's episode 409. Thursday's going to be 410. We're giving away this shirt here for one of our lucky channel members. So if you are a channel member, right, if and only if you are a channel member here at the Purple Rain Podcast, you will have a chance to win that jersey. Again, rules are you have to be in the chat when we announce the winner. We're going to randomly select the winner from a big spinny wheel thing. You guys know how we do. And you got to be in the chat if your name gets called. If your name gets called and you're not in the chat, we'll give you about a minute to claim it. If you don't claim it, we're spinning again. So we want to reward who's actually here supporting in the live chat. So listen, if you're a member, right, and you plan on watching on Thursday, you got a pretty good chance of winning as long as you just show up, right? As long as you just show up. So yeah, that is that, guys. I appreciate y'all so much. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel as well. We'd appreciate that. Alex, anything else you got for me on this one?
They disrespected your sport this weekend.
Ooh, what happened? What happened?
The Johnny Manziel fight, the Ray J
Oh, the
fight.
brand risk. Yes. Oh my gosh. I didn't watch it, but I saw the clips. Yeah.
I only look because I have this picture right here of 1-0 MMA fighter Johnny Manziel. Take it for what you want. I'm just like, really? I'm like,
Who did he beat?
if you some Bob Menery, I think
Bob
he's like
Menery.
an Instagram guy. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw you had like Lance Stevenson. He fought Michael Beasley. I think he choked him out. That was, I guess, cool. And then you had, of all people, Super Hot Fire fighting Ray J in the main event. It was, I mean, I'm glad that not only did I not watch this event because it's a disgrace to the sport of MMA, but I'm glad that, and I'm proud of myself for not even knowing that this existed, right? Until after the fact, right? Because no, it is embarrassing. Somebody who loves high level mixed martial arts, that ain't it. That is literally just you talk about a sideshow. People wanted to call the Netflix card a couple of weeks ago with Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano like a circus show. If anything's a circus show, you have Ray J, right? The one who was smashing Kim K on camera all those years ago. And that was kind of both of their claims to fame, to be honest with you. He's fighting Super Hot Fire, who is basically a long-standing internet meme, right? It just makes no sense. And then Super Hot Fire knocks him out. I mean, that was pretty interesting to see, but yeah, weird stuff.
It's weird. Hollywood's weird. Very weird.
But there's a lot of money in that stuff, though, Alex. Like, I mean, people want to see, people want to see like these big celebrities fighting. Like, imagine if like they set up a fight between, I don't know, Donald Trump and Joe Biden. I don't know, like just any two like big name celebrities or figures, right? And you just throw a bunch of money at them for them to fight. People would want to see that. At the end of the day, fighting is the most compelling sport in the world. It's the most compelling sport in the world. And if you take people that people care about, aka celebrities, and you have them fight each other, that generates interest. It does. So maybe not from your boy, but for the casual watchers, I saw a lot of people making memes out of that brand risk card, so I don't know. They're doing their thing, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like YouTube boxing is kind of a long gone thought. That was like the hot thing for a couple of years. Maybe this is a new thing. Chris, set up a fight between Sutton and Zay. I'll pay for that. Come on now. Come on, Chris.
It's funny. Y'all really think I'm out here hating Zay Flowers when I'm not.
Come on, Chris.
When I'm not.
Come on.
Appreciate you for coming through, Chris, though. Let me see. Super Hot Fire, YouTube OG. Yeah, but mainly a freaking internet meme. Mainly an internet meme.
When you compare that to Ray J, who's had, hits, obviously what he's known for.
He's
lot
known for hits,
more on the line for him to lose. Yeah. There's a lot more on the line to lose for Ray J. And I always think about these fights like, who has more to lose? What does Super Hot Fire have to lose? Pride?
Oh, nothing.
With all due respect, they're going to forget about that. If he lost, who cares?
Right.
Ray J.
Yeah, with Ray J, it's like, you're going to have like freaking Breakfast Club talking about you and all these other podcasts and radio shows and whatnot. They're going to be talking about Ray J. But again, like that's a good point. If Super Hot Fire were to lose that fight, nobody would care. Nobody would give a damn, But it is what it is. You got the UFC White House card coming up soon. I'm still excited for that. I want to see some of my favorite fighters on that. Alex Pereira, Ilya Taporia. Some of my favorite fighters are going to be on that one. Josh Hokett's a new one for me. Can't wait to see him fight again. But yeah. Won't go too deep on the MMA on the MMA tip just yet, but more MMA content coming soon here on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Just stay tuned. But Alex, we're gonna go ahead and wrap the show there as we're at an hour and 45 minutes into this one. Didn't realize we were going this long, but appreciate all y'all for coming through. Please be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below if you're part of the replay gang. what you thought about this one. Comments, questions, concerns, whatever you got, throw it down there. Alex, with that being said, go ahead and take us out.
Thank you for coming through to episode 409 of the Purple Rain Podcast. We love you. We appreciate you. And as always, stay positive. And in these days, it is most certainly important to test negative.
Yes, yes, yes. And never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. And may purple rain. Peace.